The cryptically cursed case. The rain hammered relentlessly on the window of Stephen York's office, looking down at his case about a man brutally murdered through blunt force trauma. Stephen felt as if he owed the man justice. Lost in thought, he had not noticed that someone was knocking at the door. Had he been expecting someone? As the door creaked open, Stephen's head turned up, taking in the sight of a 6'5" man looking down at him. "Hello, sir," said Stephen, quietly trying to conceal his nerves. "Is there anything that I can assist you with today?" The man ambled into the office without replying. Stephen carefully stepped aside to let him take a seat behind his desk. To the detective's surprise, the colossal man swept off his hat in a greeting gesture, replying, "Terribly sorry to interrupt you, but I've been told this is the house of Stephen York." Quite taken back, Stephen found himself unexpectedly responding, Why yes, do come in." Having hung his coat and hat on the rack nearby, the giant squandered into the vicinity, looking expectantly at the detective, all while in turn, Stephen expected his mysterious visitor more closely. He was a picture of a quintessential gentleman with a well-trimmed moustache, a collected posture, and a nonchalant attitude. The man's ears appeared not to have done their duty, for he made no sign of hurting. Instead, there came a sudden crack, and Stephen found himself in an icy plain. One might have thought surprise had accomplished enough, yet a mistake would have been. Surprise struck again, in the form of his transformation into a snowy owl. Detective York, bewildered, inspected his new look with perplexity. "Follow me," the burly man who had transported along him, "and I will explain everything." Although still confused, the detective slowly trails the peculiar man because he had nowhere else to go. The man brought him to a small house nearby, and they walked in and went into the living room. "Have a seat, and I'll tell you why this has happened," said the man. Stephen sat down on the couch awkwardly, as he was not used to his new owl body. The man explaining, Your last case was cursed. When you failed to solve it, the curse was activated. I've brought you into my home to teach you how to remove this curse, if you allow me to." Stephen did not know how to respond. Every time he opened his beak, a hoot would come out. An idea to his head on how to respond to the man he still did not know anything about. Stephen reached for a pen that was lying on the table beside the pen and took hold of it in his beak. He then wrote on the notepad that was also lying on the table the words, "Sure." "Excellent," said the man, clapping his hands. "Here's what I have to do. I'll give you another case, much like your previous one. While you're solving it, you will turn back into your human self. Failure to solve in this case will result in you turning back into an owl forever." A dugout reminding him of the grim possibility of remaining an owl forever. An eagle wheeled overhead, reminding him yet again of the dismal possibility of remaining an owl forever. A shadow caught his eye, not reminding him of the catastrophic possibility of remaining an owl forever, reminding him of nothing, though it foretold the truth of his end. There was a crack, and Stephen found himself back in his office as if nothing had ever happened. But he remembered it all. He rose from his seat and went to the mailbox to see his new case. It contained the name of another dead man and the list of clues on what happened. Stephen groaned. Of course, the man had to make his case exactly like the one he had failed. The first clue was the most mysterious. A dead man in a local hotel, with no signs of a wound or a trail of blood. Stephen jumped out of his chair, an idea suddenly coming to his mind. Stephen didn't believe in the supernatural. Maybe the murderer was some kind of ghost. However, he had no time to investigate, as suddenly Stephen heard a noise behind him. Turning around, he saw a black shadow that instantly transformed into a tall man. Before Stephen could turn around, the murderer raised his hands and pointed them towards Stephen. Stephen screamed and
Sorry? Where are you? Sorry, I'm sorry. That was my mistake. There was a crack.
Okay, Stephen
There was
screamed and
right there.
sank. Mhm. Okay. Stefan screamed and sank to the ground in a heap. The murderer looked down at whose body was a smile and fled the scene before the cops showed up. The end.
Wow, my goodness. Transforming into animals unexpectedly. That is rather chaotic. Grade 10s, well done. Again, I am impressed with the coherence in perspective and tense that is coming through in the narratives and that there is a plot. Very impressed. Any other comments from the co-host before and are we ready to click on to the grade 11 document?
Well, wow.
Co-host?
I honestly, I'm a writer. Like I write for like I write for fun and sort of for a living. And I have no clue how you guys did this so
That was honestly
cohesively
really impressive.
as a group. I mean, really,
Thank
I
you, thank you.
congratulations to
done,
the
people.
to the 11th grader. That was very nicely done.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, moving
Here we
on
go for the
to hold up.
11s.
That was 10th. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so we're doing 11.
11s, if you guys have your representative or if you guys want to choose them. I
We
don't know.
kind of have three.
Oh,
three.
okay, go for it.
Okay, go for it. No problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna start though, and you'll see what I mean.
Do I start at chapter 1 for you? Or
It's so hard.
Yes, please. Okay. Welcome to this VLC Grade 11 production of The Granny and the Cheese, starring Issa Zayed and Anna Morton Sidorak. Chapter 1, Carpooling Cringe. Xavier and Vanessa looked at one another, both concerned at this bizarre sight of the emotionless townspeople. As Vanessa moves to open the door, Xavier stops her. Are you sure
this is the best move?
Vanessa looks out the window at the townsfolk. They aren't moving.
We aren't going anywhere, and neither of us know how to fix the car.
She looks back at Xavier.
We need help.
Xavier lets out a sigh and looks out the window of the car, mulling it over. Finally, without looking back, watching the silent group of people, he speaks in a quiet tone.
You're right, but this still gives me a bad feeling. Oh, wait. I just remembered. You won't believe this.
Xavier excitedly remarked.
Huh? What? Tell me.
Said Vanessa, taking out her AirPods after listening to that exciting song that goes like, APT, 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 It was number one on her Spotify Wrapped. Also on her Spotify Wrapped was Fiend, Espresso, Birds of a Feather, and Not Like Us.
OG Fortnite is back, and my friends are on right now. I can't miss out on this.
Xavier said to the much annoyed Vanessa. Xavier, an unsuccessful jokester, would often try to lift the mood with such brain rot. They both chuckled through the tension in the air, trying to convince themselves the townsfolk were just strange, meaning them no harm. Little did they know, this was no laughing matter. Chapter 2, Arrival of the Ops. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and the car shook. It was the Ops. Xavier was too scared to even breathe. Vanessa smacked Xavier so he could breathe. They saw 5 masked people with black Nike tracksuits. Vanessa and Xavier could not seem to notice any of them, except the shorter one. Bro was 4'11". The 5 masked humans slowly crept closer to where Vanessa and Xavier sat in the white, dirt-streaked Ford pickup. Time seemed to freeze as Vanessa and Xavier watched, terror flashing across their faces. The shorter one, now they could see, had the kind face of an older granny, slowly reached out for the door handle on Xavier's side. Despite it being locked, the door opens, as doors are known to be very respectful towards the elderly. In a flash of light, the granny grabs Xavier and performs a granny-style super solar suplex, throwing Xavier backwards into a nearby pie store, as is typical of granny-style wrestling. She turns around and smiles, teethless, at Vanessa. Perhaps her intentions differ from the slowly approaching townsfolk. Well, 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 what do we have here? Looks like some kids got lost, said the granny as Xavier groaned in pain as he laid on the ground.
Who are you supposed to be?
Vanessa asked. The granny smirked. Then she pointed at the two with her finger. Greet them. Yes, toothless Tilda, the ops exclaimed as they marched forward in a weird dance-like motion. Xavier remarked,
This is cringer than a Disney Channel show.
Vanessa responded with,
Shut up, you weeb. You literally watch My Hero Academia. You cannot be talking.
The ops continued to march towards Vanessa, although to her it almost appeared as they were moving in slow motion. Her heart beat harder and harder in her chest as she noticed that she was almost stuck in her seat. She looked down to notice that she was almost glued there by some kind of cheese. Good job, Xavier, the ops said. Xavier smiled.
Wait, you betrayed me?
Asked Vanessa.
Took you hard enough to realize. Why else do you think we drove all the way to this random town?
Xavier responded as he accepted the cash prize for turning in Vanessa to the ops.
Dude, that's sad.
Suddenly, Vanessa smiled.
Why are you smiling?
Xavier asked.
Let me guess. The ops hired you?
Yeah, they did.
Xavier answered back.
Who do you think hired the ops?
The granny pulled off her mask, and it was a carbon copy of Xavier. Xavier's jaw dropped.
My twin brother?
It was indeed his twin brother, Xavier.
Xavier, whose side are you on?
Asked Xavier.
Funny you ask.
He replies, pulling out a water gun.
Hands up, everyone!
He grabs the cash from his twin brother and shoots Vanessa in the face with the water gun. With a gasp, Vanessa sat up, dazed. Rubbing the sleep from her eyes, Vanessa looked around her empty bedroom.
Gen Z is truly doomed,
she thought. Vanessa, dear, her grandma entered her bedroom. Only it wasn't her grandma.
Tilda?
The end.